He's weird, white, and pointy. On the page, not an amazing joke, okay? On its feet, not an amazing joke. I put the teeth on. Now we're cooking. It's a little bit funny, isn't it?
Yeah. Welcome to Good One. I'm your host, Jesse David Fox, senior writer at Vulture and author of Comedy Book. My guest today is Sarah Sherman. We talk about how she's redefined and mastered the Weekend Update segment on SNL, secrets from SNL 50, and we relate to each other about being weird, Jewish, and from Long Island. So here is Sarah Sherman. I'm here with Sarah Sherman. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, what was the funniest thing that happened to you this week?
I, not to brag, was on a long thinking walk. And not to brag, I was in the mountains of Victoria, British Columbia. And I was just like thinking about my life and walking around. And I was like so lost in thought that I just wasn't cognizant of my surroundings. And all of a sudden I heard birds going like fucking crazy, and I heard like branches snapping, and then I remembered I was like hiking up a hill, and I was hiking up a mountain called Bear Mountain, and I was like, right, there's bears here.
Yeah.
So then I turned around and walked my sorry ass home. And it was not to be like this, it was the day after Brian Wilson died. So I was like, I have to be listening to the Beach Boys and walk around and think about my life. And also, I'm going to start crying. I was like sobbing on the hike because I was listening to Surf's Up. Like, it's like, I think like the 13th Beach Boys album, which is like so... Brian Wilson just got it more than anyone's ever got it. And I was really feeling it. Because, like, you know, he's talking about, like, everybody's in the sun having fun in California. And it's so nice out. And everybody's boogie boarding and surfboarding. And there's all these pretty girls in little shorts around. But, like, why do I feel so abjectly sad? And, like, why do I feel like I was born in the wrong time? And I'm, like, walking around in the beautiful Victoria with these beautiful forests and bears all around. And I'm, like, fucking totally, man. Like... why do I feel like this?
Why I'm so excited to talk to you is I feel like you've figured out a genuinely new way of doing Weekend Update, which is amazing since the show's been on famously for 50 years. And I want to pick one from this season and just talk about it a little bit to figure out how you do what you do with the show. And the one I want to talk about is the original Nosferatu.
Yeah. What's up?
What's up, little Nosferatu? Before we get into it, as sort of a baseline for you and horror movies, do you have your 4 favorite horror movies? Or 4 favorite horror monster types?
Oh, like I love Frank in Hellraiser. He's got no skin. He's a pervert. I love that. I mean, I like these crazy, like I love like the Leprechaun. I don't know if that counts. I love like, the first thing that's coming to mind right now is this like, crazy flesh monster TV from this movie Terror Vision. It's like a TV that like sucks you off. Oh, speaking of a TV that sucks you off, there's this character, the Trickster from this movie Brain Scan, that looks if you look it up, or do you guys do videos of this podcast?
This is a video.
Hey, put Trickster from Brain Scan right here. Look, don't we look exactly alike? He comes out of the TV and he sucks your mind. There's like a bunch of like freaky guys. Oh, I love Castle Freak. It's all in the name. He's the Castle Freak. And he lives in the dungeon in this big castle. And he is being very perverted to a 13-year-old blind girl. And I like him.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think we get a sense of it.
Great.
So you do the character, the first episode back from break. Do you see the movie during holiday break? Walk me through it.
So I saw the movie at the Music Box Chicago, shout out. And it's like, you got to see Nosferatu in Chicago, like home of Sven Gulli. Shout out to Sven Gulli. I really liked the movie. I loved it. But he's so sexy that I was like, original Nosferatu is going to be pissed off about giant ripped Sarsgaard. Original Nosferatu is like a funny little, I mean, he's silent, so you can make him sound like whatever you fucking want.
Yeah.
He's just got such a funny cartoon look to him.
Do you remember when you saw the original Nosferatu?
College stoned on YouTube. I really like the oh my God, it's too early. Help.
I don't know. You need more.
Oh my God, help me.
You
what
like
the fuck is his name? The Nosferatu that I like.
the
God,
Werner
I
Herzog?
love the Herzog Nosferatu. I get him. He's just like a fucking freaky loser. He's the Nosferatu that really makes me feel about eternal loneliness and suffering. But like the only idea that I had for when I saw the new Nosferatu and I wrote in my little notebook, I just drew the picture of the hands. I was like, I don't know what I want to do for that, but I just want to go like that.
And you did. To get from hands to the sketch, we have a week at SNL. My favorite thing to do is walk through the famous SNL week, and that's what we're going to do now.
Oh, okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Monday. The original pitch, you gather in Lauren's little office.
Yes.
And do you mention it there? Do you do fake pitches?
I do fake pitches. I don't think it was this week, but I had a pitch in that Monday. The Monday fake pitch, we don't want to burn our real ideas. So I think I pitched, not that week, but I pitched. Oh, I did pitch a Nosferatu thing. I don't think it was that week, but you know how the trailer came out and it was just like, it was just like a low drone and everything was like shadowy and dark and you like couldn't like see anything. And that was like when the reveal that the like cinematography was going to be like spooky or whatever. And I think I pitched a sketch that was like a trailer for the new Nosferatu. And it's like, critics are saying they couldn't see a fucking thing. Can someone turn the goddamn fucking lights on? And I think I bombed because like no one had seen the trailer at the time because I think it was like the day the trailer came out.
Yeah.
And I had another vampire pitch. I don't think I pitched it that week either. But of course, it's the character, the poop vampire, and I want to suck your butt. So stuff like that will never see the light of day.
When you pitched that, was that a fake pitch or you're like, this might work?
I hate to say it, but part of me was like, this is gonna work.
It's almost like you did a double. It's like, oh, I could pitch it as a fake. And then everyone will be like, you know what? That's like actually might be good. Like, what? I thought it was going to be fake. But
I've pitched things that I'm like, literally, this is bottom of the barrel, actual shit from the bottom of an ass. And people are like, no, that's a sketch. And it'll be like, I think it was like the pitch, like, I pitched a parody of Legally Blonde called Legally Brunette. And then, like, no one is surprised or impressed that she's, like, good at being a lawyer, whatever.
That's a good,
I know, everyone's like, that's a sketch. And I'm like, well, I don't care about that. I cared about the poop vampire. That no one else seems to care about, who obviously his mouth was like a tube that sucks shit out of your ass. My taste is so bad.
No, I'm trying to think his mouth had to be a tube.
Right.
Because vampires' mouths aren't tubes. It's like their mouths are still mouths. The sucking is
right.
Our mouths can suck regardless, but you wanted it to be.
There's this one X-Files monster from the first season that lives in the drain that has like a perfect circle mouth. Real heads are gonna know what I'm talking about. He lives in the drain. He like swims around the drains, and he's got a perfect red prolapsed anus circle mouth. And my fucking goal on Saturday Night Live is playing basically that monster. Mm-hmm. So perfect circle mouth. I want to suck your butt. It's perfect.
Yeah, I want to suck your butt.
Yeah, put the image of it here.
Yeah, I want to suck your butt is t-shirts.
It's Funko Pop. It's everything. It's mugs. It's license plate. It's perfect.
Yeah, you go to the NBC store and it's just like, I want to suck your butt, and everyone cheers. Even anytime you go on the show, people are cheering at you.
It's the new Domingo.
Yeah.
Poop vampire. I mean, I can see it now. Yeah. Off Broadway.
So then Tuesday, set the scene. What time do you roll in on a Tuesday night?
I'm like a real psycho. I've not learned work smart, not hard. I've not learned this. You can ask any of my coworkers. I get there on Tuesday really fucking early. I get there at like 1. And I'll write on Monday night. Yeah. I'm slow, so I have to start Monday. A lot of people don't think of SNL as an office job, but it is. And I'm just not. I got to think like walking around or doing something crazy. Like it's hard for me to like get stuff cooking just in a office.
Yeah,
like it's just. I mean, it's like 30 Rock is like I'm burping. The burp vampire. It's like it's a fabulous building, cool Art Deco, whatever, but there's a lot of fluorescent lights. You're in an office. Dan Bulla, who I write with, will patiently stay up all night kind of thinking about things that we can write the next day. So then the next day I come in like 1, 2, panic, full panic, blackout panic, and just try to fucking scrape some shit together. And like, I think I corralled, it was Dan Bulla, Mike DeCenzo, and Josh Patton, who's a Weekend Update writer. I think Jake Nordwind. Sorry, Jake. I have like no memories anymore. Like once the season is over, you're like factory reset in your brain. But I think for some reason, the original idea was an update piece where the original Nosferatu reviews ice cream. And it was just like I come out with a flight of ice cream and the only thing I say is, it's cold. That's my only. Well, needless to say, that wasn't the final.
So the main game is, in this case, Nosferatu reviews ice cream, and then like Anne will put the Colin stuff in. Like anytime you're doing the ones now that you do them like in character, you're not approaching it first like, cool, like, well, the main thing is that we make fun of Colin, and then we'll do your Colin's like, I'm gonna do ice cream, and then we'll just knock out some Colin digs along the way.
It's like, well, what I'll usually start by, and my coworkers can tell you this, and to my coworkers, I apologize. I'll write a really long draft that goes to table where I've thrown like 1,000 ideas at the wall. I always write a thing where it's like, I write a treat for myself where I'm like, and then a rat crawls out. So then a rat was supposed to crawl out, and I like rip its head off and I drink the blood. And I was like, everyone that I'm writing with knows that my stupid bullshit isn't going to make it to air.
Sure.
They know that it's like, my stupid bullshit's not the funniest part. It's just something I really want to do. And I'll see at run through and at dress rehearsal that that's not the funniest part and I should let it go. But it takes me, I have to go there. The props have to be built. I have to try it. I have to feel it for myself. I'm so sorry, props department. They've dealt with a lot of that. I'm sorry to the monkey boys, the people who build the puppets. And then we'll see how it does at table read. And then it just like starts pruning down from there.
Yeah.
And the Colin jokes are just like relentless attempts at making sure we have laughs throughout. And especially like, because nothing's foolproof. I'm constantly surprised about what works and what doesn't on the show. I never know. Literally never.
Yeah.
It's like I know that I can get a laugh if I say like, you know, Colin, your penis is out. By the way, we said that I think the second I rolled out.
Yes. No, you come out and you go, it's so much smaller than I thought it would be. Which is, how would I put it? It is a strained premise.
Yes. It is always.
Because that's not really like a sentence someone would say.
No.
But.
Right, because it's about the studio, right?
Yeah, so then he goes, yeah, the studio is smaller. And you're
right.
But because it's a thing that you might not get away with if it wasn't for that there's a built-in rhythm for these.
Right.
Also, they're just getting used to the fact that you're doing this voice and you're looking like that.
Right.
So they're like, okay, we'll allow her to say.
We'll allow it.
We'll allow it. And then he said that. And then you say.
He's weird, white, and pointy. Yeah, that was. And that's the thing, like, saying, like, oh, your penis is just like me, weird, white, and pointy. On the page, not an amazing joke. Okay? On its feet, not an amazing joke. I put the teeth on. Now we're cooking. It's a little bit funny, isn't it?
Yeah, now you are pointy. Now, in many ways, the joke is just, look how weird, white, and pointy I am.
Yes. And it was like the funniest part to me, as someone who I won't watch it back, really. Like, I won't, whatever. I knew that my mouth was moving crazy because the teeth were so crazy. Because the teeth are so much longer than my actual teeth that, like, I couldn't bite down all the way, and they curved inward. So I had to, like, really jut my overbite over. And so I was opening my mouth really big. And I have TMJ, so that was, like, impossible for me. But
The sacrifices you make.
I mean, and of course I have TMJ. This fucking job, just being like, you know, fucking no sleep, staying up all night every night, so stressed out, so uptight. I'm very uptight and like, whatever. But yeah, I know I'm still talking about the writing. Oh yeah. So then.
So wait, at table, you do a much longer version,
yes.
and at this point, everyone goes, we know there's a lot more, but we know, because I think there's some people that, like, how do I put this? Like, it can't, like, they can't, it will be like, this has to be close enough to at least the structure of the sketch, give or take. Like, what is the process of them being like, some of this is working, like, can we keep on writing it? Can this go to the rewrite table? Like, what are the conversations like when you do it? Like, does it parts play well enough that you're getting a sense of where you're going?
Yeah, and like you'll get into a rhythm of it. So a rhythm will form. And like the Colin roasting jokes are just like nice, like, and like to think of it as like nice lily pads to land on, where you can take a big swing with a joke. Well, for me, I thought I could take a big swing with a joke ripping a rat's head off and drinking its blood, as long as you land on a Colin joke that you know will get a laugh. And then it's also like a nice challenge of like working within the framework of like a Colin joke. It's like, well, we've called him rich white pedophile in the Hamptons 4,000 times. Like, what are new ways we can say that?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it is really fucking fun. And I feel I'm always a little bit like, can I keep doing it? Like, does everyone think I'm like a one-trick pony or whatever? But I think, I don't know, like SNL sketch character stuff is so new for me, and I'm not that amazing at it, that I can like, it gives me like a structure to work from so that I can like try crazy voices and characters and stuff, which I wasn't doing when I first got there. Like, it's just a newer thing for me. And then I was able to start doing crazy character voices because I had the framework and structure of the Colin jokes to work off of.
Yeah. I think it's also like, I mean, one, the audience, though the second time you did it, you're like, I can't believe we're doing the same old shit again. It takes the audience years to realize like what a comedic game is or whatever, where it's like so they're probably now by your third year, but definitely by this point where you can do it in character and they know that there's that part can be part of it.
Right.
Or it doesn't have to be, but like that allows it for, you can do two things at once. Like you essentially like built on top of those, you built essentially a character on top of that existing game structure, and then makes that the sub game. Now this is actually too in the weeds for anybody. But does Colin ever write the roasts himself? Has he ever pitched any?
Yes. He's great. Like, we'll do at run through, because we'll do on the Saturday, there's no blocking for weekend update bits like earlier in the week, actually, except for I famously have a lot of they call them look-sees, like either on the Thursday or Friday, which most weekend updates don't usually have, but I usually have so much fucking tech.
Yeah. And the costumes and
whatever. So they'll do it like, we really wanted to get that cool black and white look for the Nosferatu cutaways, and we really wanted to, I was so obsessed, because it all started with the hands. I was so obsessed with getting that cool shadow from the hands like in the beginning. So we have like a tech run through, like I think the night before, after everyone's blocked all their sketches at like 1 a.m, just to see how that would look.
And also Thursday, Friday, what is your conversations like with the costume thing when you're like, I mean, everyone knows what the old Nosferatu looks like, but like, obviously as a person who does a lot of like prosthetics and costumes and set things, even in Weekend Update, how do you interact with them to like make sure they're doing what is in your brain as a person who used to do all that stuff yourself.
They all know they're getting crazy texts from me. Sometimes, so Tom, the costume designer, has gotten like literal 5-page PDF packets of me like drawing 8 different versions of a costume, and he's like, "You're crazy." Love you, Tom. But he for that one, like he just went off, and that fucking costume, I've never felt sexier in my fucking life. I had a crazy like hunched shoulders thing that like the makeup and costume, the way they inform the character for me, it's like legit everything. Like, and then me and Louis, like the makeup special effects artist who like he's like my fucking best friend there. We'll like send each other a bunch of images back and forth because that was a reference that was like already, whatever. But like I knew about the fingers, but I didn't know like the fingers were gonna be like wiggly.
Yeah.
So then it's like, oh my God, now I'm having like way too much fucking fun with this. And like, I try not to, you learn day fucking one on SNL, like don't read the comments, like being on Saturday Night Live, which is the target of like pure hatred and ire culturally, because it's just like something to do and something people do. It's like the second you get on SNL, it's like you immediately get like acid thrown in your face. That's like, you suck, fucking kill yourself, stupid bitch, whatever. But I've seen, so I try not to read the comments, but I've seen like, people comment on all my pictures like, "You always fucking break, like, you stupid idiot, you're always breaking, laughing at your own jokes, you smug asshole." And I'm like, bro, like legit, I just put these fingers on 5 fucking seconds ago, found out they wiggled, I'm laughing, I'm having a lot of fun. So like, you think you have a voice for the character, you think you have a physicality for the character, and then you put on this jacket that gives you a weird hunch, and then you get these fingers that are wiggly and long, and like you start moving differently, and all of a sudden like you actually have like physicality for the character. And then I kind of had a voice, but I didn't really. And then I put those fucking teeth on, which forced me to move my mouth in a really crazy way. And all of a sudden I had like a new voice for it. And it was just like, and of course I love, as with the writing, like I write a million things with a million props and whatever. Same with the makeup. I want it all. I want the fucking bald cap. I want the fucking ears. I want the fucking fingers. I want the fucking teeth. I want fucking everything. So the Nosferatu at Run Through had this crazy nose. And like Lauren's thing with me is like, well, we can't see your fucking face. That could be any fucking person up there. That could be the fucking host. Nobody knows who that is. Take something off. It's like...
That's it. In the years of people talking as Lord, they never had him sound like that.
Yeah, he sounds exactly like that. Not many people know that. This is exactly verbatim what he said. But so, like, I always have to take kind of like one thing off. And that's like another thing that I'm learning. Yeah, what does Coco Chanel say? Don't leave the house without taking your big nose off. Mm-hmm. And then, I wish I had my phone in here. But put the picture in here. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, you can. You'll send us the photo later. And then
Louis made me, for like the end of the season, he made me like a little like doll action figure of the Nosferatu we did with all the fingers.
I mean, I will say this, just in case the people who are mad at you for breaking are also watching this. When you're these characters, they are often making jokes, right? Like Nosferatu is making fun of Colin on purpose. It's not like...
Sue me for having fun.
I know.
And making a joke. We're like, well, that's another thing. It's like, you want to see someone who's miserable on stage, and that's like another. It's not like, I think there's this weird thing in stand-up too that people don't like when a comedian laughs at their own jokes. I do. I like seeing joy.
Yeah.
I try not to break just out of like professionalism and whatever, trying to just do the job. It's all like new. I don't think people think about that. Like, this was an idea we heard about 3 days ago, so it's still new.
Yeah. The other thing about you and Lauren I want to ask about is that apparently you text Lauren. This is a thing that old SNL cast members will bring up out of jealousy, is that you text Lauren. What does Lauren text like?
He's funny. And he uses an economy of words, which, as you can tell from this interview, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a funny texter, and it's very like straight and to the point.
So you're like, no.
Yeah.
And he's like, and it'll be like,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. And he's always funny. So like, I don't know if this is like TMI. Yeah, whatever. We'll see. I got a giant envelope in the mail. And it was like handwritten with like a handwritten letter that was like, "Hey, I'm Gilda Radner's brother. Weird thing happened where I've been receiving like all of your residuals checks for the past few months." And he like sent it to me. Like, by the way, you're like really great on the show, like whatever. And I started like hysterically sobbing, obviously, because I'm like, okay, God's speaking to me right now. The fact that my SAG residuals checks, shout out Union, my SAG residuals checks have been sent to Gilda Radner's estate. I'm like, hello. I see. Like, and I was sobbing. I was like, and I texted Lauren. I was like, oh my God, my checks have been sent to Gilda Radner's estate. Isn't this like a crazy coincidence? I feel like this is like a miracle, or like I feel like this is like a spirit is talking. You know, and obviously sent like that's a schizophrenic text message. And Lauren was like, that's sweet. I got it. That's sweet.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
All right. So back to Saturday. You're talking about running through Colin pitching jokes about himself.
Yeah.
Go.
Because he's a really good joke writer. So, you know, he's good at like condensing, and because you got to shave off time. I mean, that's another thing. Like, things have to be short because you want to make sure all your friends get their shit on, which can be really tough to do. You know, you're like, oh, I don't want to kill these jokes, but like you kind of have to. So he's really helpful with like smallening it and concisifying it. Perfect words.
Is there jokes that he rejected that you feel, though he rejected them being on SNL, you feel fine? And in the history of you doing the Weekend Update, making fun of him?
He's never said something's too far. No, never.
It's wild.
I know. There is like, yeah. I mean, I've literally said he was a pedophile.
The ones that I thought were when you started also implying that he sexually, like...
abused me, a child.
Yeah, and like interns and stuff like that. You're like...
I put an intern in a cage, and I did his fake office. There was a cage with Ben Silva, writer, in it. And I said that was an intern he kept in there. And it's like...
Yeah, that in this one you have, please don't touch me with your cold, slimy fingers.
Right.
And you said, your former assistant.
It's a good joke. I think Josh Patton wrote that. That's a good joke. Well, here's another thing that I love about doing Weekend Updates is like you get the actually the most fun part of the week. I mean, besides everything else that I described as being really fun. Actually, probably putting on the fingers is the most fun part. But
okay, second most fun.
Most fun is the rewrite table because you're shopping for jokes. It's like, is this fucking Christmas? This is fucking amazing. So like, for Weekend Update pieces, you have like all the writers show up to your table and Weekend Update writers. And they're like really fucking good joke writers. So you get to go joke shopping with like a million funny people, and it's even more joke writers than at a regular sketch rewrite table. So, and because like, you know, I do a lot of Colin jokes, you know, we've all worked this muscle for the past like 4 years. I've been on the show for 4 years. Thought I would have had a Funko Pop at the NBC store by now. It's okay. Nothing personal.
Well, the hard part is you can't do a Nosferatu. Well, is Nosferatu in the public domain? I'm like, oh, could you do a Nosferatu Funko Pop, but it's you as Nosferatu, but it's like just
no one watches my sketches. They're never going to be in the NBC store. That is not, you do.
That's not even true.
Well, there's like everyone makes fun of me. I've never had a sketch go viral that I've made. That's okay. Yeah. I'm sure it's, you know,
all your updates do the same exact of really well.
Yes, exactly.
So it is funny to be like the exact same 1 million people tune in to watch exactly that.
I mean, I'd love to break 1 million.
They didn't break 1 billion. This one is over 1 million.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's just on YouTube. Who knows? Now they put them on TikTok and everything.
Right. What goes on there? What goes on
So,
there?
Saturday.
Yeah.
So, rewrite table, Saturday. Let's get to the show.
Yeah.
How are you feeling right before a show? Well, does it change between dress and air?
I mean, well, because by the way, I've been kicking and screaming. I've been dragged.
The rats.
Yes. So it's like Saturday run through. You're wearing the costume and partial makeup just to kind of see what it looks like. I got my flight of ice cream for my big ice cream joke.
The ice cream is still there on Saturday?
Yep. Because I
unreal.
am kicking and screaming about I'm like, we need to see it on its feet. We don't know if it's not funny. And Dan and Deej and Josh are so used to this shit by now. I'm like, I have to bite the fucking rat's head off and drink the blood. And they're like, all right, let her do her thing. And obviously by the time on Saturday at run through, I'm like, I see what you all have been saying. Biting the rat's head off and drinking his blood isn't as funny as all the other actual jokes we have in here. Respect. My apologies to everyone. But by that point, someone has had to build a rat. And by the way, I've been in conversation with the rat person. They're like, how do you want to drink the blood? I'm like, well, I want the body to be squeezy so I can be like, I could squeeze it like a Gatorade commercial, blood all over my face. It's a beautiful rat with a detachable head. All like this has and then I see egg on my face that it's not as funny as everything else. And it usually eats up more time. Like all my favorite stuff is all this like gaggy prop shit. Yeah. And that always takes more time, which means that, you want to shave off time so that other people can get their stuff on the show.
So you didn't, but you still did the rat address? I think
so.
That's wild.
But everyone knows let Sarah do her thing and have her temper tantrum. Like,
like when you say temper tantrum?
No,
I don't know. Like I don't know if is your reputation of, and not in a bad way, where it's just like you'll be like fighting. It's like we have to have the rat.
It's like, come on, like we got it. Like it could be really funny, guys, and everyone's like, okay, whatever. They know it's not gonna. Like I did my second season. I did this segment called Sarah News, and I like had all these like crazy animations, and it was just Sarah World stuff or whatever, and just funny jokes. It was just funny jokes about like the news and Colin or whatever. The news. It was me being like, John Fetterman makes my pussy wet. Taking that one back, Jesus! Don't do jokes about loving politicians. I'll tell you that. It's not going to age well. Jesus Christ. So at the end of the bit, I really wanted this puppet of a zit to come out and be like, Sarah, I live on your face. Whatever. I wrote it with PDD.
Please don't destroy.
Please don't destroy. And Dan Bulla. They're like, zit puppet's not funny. It's not working. You have all these other funny jokes. I was like, well, we'll see it on its feet. We'll see how it plays out in the flesh. We'll get it on its feet. Like, see if it has legs. They're like, everyone's humoring me. Dress rehearsal, puppet comes out. Obviously, all the energy is sucked out of the room. It was such a good momentum. The zit joke wasn't funny. But I'm like, look at the fucking zit. It looks amazing. My friend Dylan Pecora, who works at Monkey Boys, who builds a bunch of puppets, like, gets my shit, build the perfect zit puppet. It had like big bloodshot eyeballs and like pustules and arms. But everyone knew like it's not going to be in the thing. And then we do it at like dress, and all the laughs stop for the last 30 seconds, which you would argue is the most important part because that's your closer. Colin's like, all right, let's lose the everyone's like, we're losing the puppet. But it's like everyone humored me the whole week with the puppet.
It's very nice that they humor you there.
They fucking humor me a lot. Yes. It's crazy.
Yeah. But I guess they're like, it works, part of the process, so that you're excited.
Yes.
Right? If someone pitched you Nosferatu, and you're like, what if he has ice cream? And you're like, no, dead rat. It's actually just going to be jokes like this.
I would be like, then I quit actually the entire job and I'm moving to a different country.
Yeah. And they're like, no, we'll let it, because you still get the week of doing it.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
And can we just accept that's my process?
Seemingly, 4 years in.
Yeah, I mean, well, there was a sketch that got cut. May she rest. It got cut. Have you ever heard of a sketch being cut on a Friday? It happens. I've written something so unfunny it gets cut on a Friday. It was like my first year. I really wanted to put my head in a tank with a tarantula.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, it's a fucking live comedy show with lights and cameras and screaming. You're not going to want to put your head in a tank with a tarantula. And I was like, everybody's going to humor me about this. It'll be fun. They literally had to bring in an animal expert to tell me to my face. He brought the tarantula. He had it on his hand. And he was like, you see these hairs on the tarantula? Mm-hmm. When this tarantula gets stressed out, these hairs fly off and will go into your eyes and they will burn them. But they had to bring in the tarantula.
It's like, it is the most bizarre version of high maintenance that's ever existed. It's like, I need this tarantula. And they're like, okay, here's the tarantula.
But how else would I know?
I didn't know that about tarantulas. And now you have a fun fact about tarantulas.
Exactly. But, NBC had to foot the bill that day for the tarantula.
So it airs. I want to run through a few of the jokes that we didn't touch on that are really good. There is
the
sit-up bit.
Oh, the sit-up bit. That's Josh Patton.
So funny.
Amazing. And my core, I had to engage my core for real. I think I did it twice because it was so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another problem with me. It's like, I have no decorum. I have no dignity. I have no elegance. I have no class. It was too fun to not do again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another moment like that, which is so you have it gets to the part where you're like, suck on your nose. He's like, you don't suck on my nose. Something about there being blood.
Oh.
You had to get a lot to get to this part, but it was worth it, which is suck on your nose. Really, no thanks. I don't want to be up all night.
Right.
And the audience gets it, which is nice.
Right. They're like, oh, you're a cokehead, pedophile.
And then you go, because of the cocaine column.
Right.
Which already probably don't need it.
Right. Of course.
And then, do you remember the joke you say?
Oh, I don't want to be up all night because of the cocaine, Colin.
Nosferatu. Well, you got
a nose for coke, dude. Fucking funny. That's funny.
But that is a type of joke that I'm like, well, Sarah loves jokes like that.
Of course. Wait till you see an hour and a half of my stand-up. Jesus Christ.
Do you remember that whole run, the writing of that run, or even...
I think it's just like when stuff is so dumb, it's like, if it's that dumb, you just gotta like, come on. This is like lizard brain. Like, there's like no math or science that could figure out why that's funny, but it's not funny to most people, but it is to me.
Yeah, it's also, and you got the first joke that was good.
Yeah.
So then you've earned
a play. I get to play.
So the end of it ends. The joke at the end. Do you remember what the joke ends?
Is it the blood on the field? Dan Bulla. That's a Dan Bulla 3000.
So I want to visit Sarah Sherman. She's been on her period for 3 years straight.
Right.
Which
By
already.
the way, who knows what that means? Sure.
But that is the benefit of the character that you've created, which is like, well, something's going on with her. Yeah. Maybe that's it. Yeah. And then you have Colin say, well, you know what I always say, if there's blood on the field, play ball. By
the way, I have literal chills from that stunning sentence. I had like never heard if there's grass on the field, play ball. So like when Dan Bull, I'm fucking outing you. Good joke, brother. When he said that joke, I was like, oh, what? I didn't even know that was a thing anyone had ever said, like the grass on the field thing. I was shook, shiver me timbers. And if I'm that gagged, it's in.
Yeah.
And that's a crazy thing to say.
What was it like Saturday night? You're doing it. It's going well already, but you're like, we got this. How's it feel? Have the audience go through? Because the period part they laugh at, but like it has there's grossness feeling that you or have done in a lot of these weekend update things. And then you have that line. Do you remember the feeling of it, or in general, like when you that mixture of like this audience is grossed out as the setup for, which I think is a mixture you like. Talk about it.
I enjoy repulsion. So if I hear oohs, ahs, no's, I'm in heaven. But there is I get like suicidal during the live show because you just had the dress rehearsal. It was so loose, it was so fun. And now you have to do it for real, and it has to be good. And I opened my mouth. I remember wheeling out. I opened my mouth, and like I had been practicing the voice with the teeth on so much that like my jaw was sore. And I felt like as soon as I fucking opened my mouth, I was like, God fucking damn it. I did not do it as funny. I'm not doing it as funny right now as I did it during the dress rehearsal. And so I'm in my head the whole time, like, God fucking damn it. Like I'm not tearing it right now. I'm not like fucking nailing it. And I'm like kind of in my head that whole performance being like, fucking what the fuck am I doing? Like what? It was so much fucking funnier. What am I doing? Freaking out the whole time. Then I think every time I do this, I'm having a little like, that's when I can like center myself and I'm like, I know I'm having fun. But then every time I do something, I'm like, God fucking damn it. I did it fucking funnier the last time. Or like the sit up, I think I did twice because I'm spinning out and I'm not present, and I did something physical and that grounded me and reminds me of like, that's what's fun for me. And like doing, so I think I did it twice because it was like fun for me. But then I get off stage and I'm just like suicidal. I'm just like, I fucking beefed it. That's my bit. I always say that I'm like, I beefed it. I'm sorry. I fucking beefed it. And everyone's like, it's like all the writers are there. And I feel bad because I'm like, I want to give them the experience of like, yo, we just nailed it. It's a party. Like, I made you guys stay up for 3 nights straight, all night to fucking work on this stupid bullshit. Like, let's, a reward would be like a smile or a good vibe. And I just get off stage like morose. Like, I'm sorry. I fucking beefed it. I fucking shat the bed. It wasn't as funny. And then I'm legit make Mike DeCenzo, because he'll do it. He's a psycho just like me. I make him watch the dress and the live.
Like the next day or like
then, if I have time, like right then.
Saturday night as the show's air.
I'm like, it wasn't as good. Go beat for beat. And he'll do it. He'll do it and be like, he'll go in with an X-Acto knife and beat for beat. Was this funnier? Was this beat funnier? And like, it's always the same. But I'm so like this last time. I think I did the last update bit I did was like I was like Colin's accountant, and I like had a gag where like I would say something about him and then start like writing on a piece of paper after I just called him a pedophile or whatever, and then like use the laugh time to be like, I'm writing with a pencil. And after I did it in the air show, I like got off stage. I was like, I wasn't being fucking funny with the pencils. I'm gonna fucking kill myself. I'm like, Mike DeCenzo, can you go watch Dress in Air and tell me if I'm being funny with the pencils? And I'm like storming through the hallway being like, fuck, I fucked it. And Kieran Culkin came up to me and he was like, oh, that was funny. And I was like, I didn't do this fucking funny thing where I draw with where I have 2 pencils in my hand at the same time. He was like, literally for 4 minutes, I saw you with 2 pencils in your hand at the same time. I don't know what you're talking about.
You thought you didn't do it?
I don't know. Like, I just get so... It's this, like, dress rehearsal and air thing that makes you crazy. Because it's, like, dress is loose and fun and hot and crazy. Cameras aren't recording. I mean, it's not live.
Yeah.
And then the second the pressure is on, I'm just like, God damn it. Like, I've lost all the looseness. And I'm, like, critical. And I'm just such a bummer. Like, literally, even at the after party, the sketch is already on YouTube.
Mike DeCenzo already has walked through each step. At the
and I'm
party.
like, I make him pull out the phone and be like, because we have all the sketches on a Dropbox on the phone. I'm like, just fucking watch it and tell me if I fucked this line up. like, I can't get over, like, we did an Oasis update at the beginning of the year that obviously everyone hated, whatever. Shout out Liam Gallagher, you fucking rock star. I love you. Well, Liam Gallagher hated it, which is how you know you, like, I'm like, an angel just kissed me.
Imagine he was like, I thought it was really good.
Something would have been wrong.
That'd be so weird.
He's the hater of a generation. He sips on that fucking hater. If he wasn't sipping on the haterade, it's like we would have done something wrong. To get like for Liam Gallagher to be like, this is shite. I was like, Christmas came early this year.
We never call things legend.
I know. Well, I watched a video of because he's like the funniest person alive, which is like, by the way, doing a sketch where you're impersonating the funniest person alive, it's like, might as well sign a fucking death sentence. You kidding me? He said in a video, he's like, he called SpongeBob a legend. And I was like, that's the funniest thing anyone's ever said. So we stole that game. But I misspoke a joke in that update. This was half a year ago at this point. It still keeps me up at night. I feel fucking suicidal about it. Like, we were supposed to say Tommy Pickles bald legend, and I like looked off cards and I just said Tommy Pickles legend, and I was like, well, I fucking ruined the funniest part of the goddamn joke. Tommy Pickles bald legend is funny. Way funnier than Tommy Pickles legend.
Because you said it a few times, I do feel like it's my responsibility. It's like, are you okay?
Definitely not. Definitely.
But you're like,
Norm, I'm having fun.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I just feel bad. Like, if every episode you're like, and then you talk about killing yourself and stuff.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anyone, if you could walk a mile in my shoes, if you could walk 45 inches in my shoes, it's crazy. Like, I think the suicidal feeling that I'm jokingly referring to is like, I kept these people up all night writing jokes.
You feel bad.
And I'm like, it's your responsibility to take it over the finish line. And I'm like, if I'm not being the most funniest, if I'm not being funny boots about this right now, it's like, why did Louis make the fucking fingers? Why did Tom put the shoulder pads in the jacket? Why did Josh stay up all night with my sorry ass on Final Draft, making sure you know what I mean? It's just like crazy.
And at any point, do you then go, I think it went okay? Like Nosferatu, seemingly you were happy that you did it. Or do you have to just accept that, like, you completely have to divorce from the fact that it is a final product, and SNL is just, well, everyone got to have that week where they wrote jokes or whatever. Like, you have to forget that it's work, and you have to forget that it's a product. And you're like, well, I liked making Nosferatu.
Yeah. And like now I can like look back at it and be like, it was really fun to set up. And like the writing process was so fun. And like I loved the teeth and that was so fun. And like Lauren's big thing is like, cause like he knows like I'm a psycho and he's like, it's live. Things like the show, I wish it would have imprinted more on me, this like letting go. It has, after 4 years, I've learned to let go, but like it forces you to just be like, be present. It's live. It's messy. We wrote it 2 days ago. Like, let go.
If it was better, it'd be worse, is how I think of SNL. If everyone was nailing their beats every episode, it would be an unwatchable show with people.
Beep, boop, beep,
yeah,
boop.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, especially as like all the internet is AI content, the fact that there's a show where people mess up on live television is legitimately thrilling.
Yes. And there's nothing else like that anymore. It's like you got to see the cameras. There are these giant old cameras on cranes. It's fucking broadcast television. Like, it's old-timey, fabulous old show business that doesn't exist anymore. And everyone tries their best to not mess up. I mean, I think maybe that's actually what pisses me off about people being mad about breaking. It's like, for me, there's so much joy, obviously, that I have at the job but it is so scary and hard that it's like for anyone to be fucking critical of like the small beams of joy you can actually get in the midst of a full level 10 panic attack freak out. It's like, let me live. Let me live.
Did you ever hear from what Lauren thought about Nosferatu?
I just knew that he was like, there's too much shit on your fucking face.
He wants to see your face.
I know. Well, his favorite thing that I did this year, he loved the Jack Black in the Sky thing.
I have it on this
That
paper.
was his favorite thing. He loved, because I think he...
So it's called... Is it called Making Love?
It is.
The basic premise is you and Jack Black are flying in the sky and thinking about making love.
Yes. Because it's simulation of sex, or it's the metaphor of sex.
Yes.
On wires.
Where did that come from? What was it like to do? Did you pitch a sketch where you were singing? I feel like...
Of course not. Of course I didn't. Allison Gates, one of the head writers, wrote it. And she's like a low-key amazing musician, but she's so fucking humble. It's like, I didn't realize that every time she wrote a musical sketch, because she writes a lot of them, I didn't realize she was playing the fucking music. Like, she wrote the music.
That's crazy.
Allison, brag more. But I was so honored to... They just put me in the sketch, and I was so honored because it was like... It just felt like a big job or something, like that they would trust me, being like, okay, you're on wires, you're in harness, you're singing in the sky, and you have to just like convincingly sell that you're like a woman who's a normal woman who's acting, which is hard for like...
Yes, talk about Sarah Normal.
Sarah Normal. There's a lot of Sarah Normal activity. Well, I mean, that was my season. This season was Sarah Normal. Like, my first 2 seasons was like, you know, they're like just figuring out who you are. So it's like they let us make a sketch where I play Chucky, where it's like my head on a dummy body. Yeah. And it's like, you know, they know that that's my comfort zone and whatever. And the past 2 seasons of people being like, well, maybe she can straight man a sketch and maybe she can convincingly emote, you know, and that's the hardest thing for me. It's like, in order to make a sketch work, sometimes you do need someone to be really grounded and just like acting the house down boots a little bit. And so the past 2 years has been people slowly incorporating me as normal woman in their sketch.
Yeah. Girlfriend wearing wig.
Girlfriend, blonde.
Normal wig.
Blonde, normal woman, Ann Taylor Loft shirts, reacting convincingly. And like... with the Making Love sketch, because I was like, I'm in the sky with Jack fucking Black, and we're like doing flips in the air. I was like really hammy, because sometimes it's hard for me to break out of that.
Yeah.
And it was so fun that I just like went to my like reflex performance mode, which is just like hello, whatever. And like Celeste, Yim, and Allison had to be like, they sat me down and they're like, it's gonna have to be Sarah-sexual. Like, actually, not just like boop boop be doo. Like, it has to actually be like, to sell the sketch, you kind of have to be normal Sarah sex. And I was like, it was really hard for me. But that's the whole job has been a learning experience, and I never in a billion trillion years like thought this was going to be my life, and I'm learning
because you were just doing stand-up performance art / stand-up,
like really crazy, really crazy stuff. So, you know, literally like throwing my real pubes at an audience. Like, yeah, I know it didn't have to be real pubes, but whatever it was. I can't
save money. You didn't have to buy pubes at the store?
No, and I can grow it back fucking fast. So, you better trust and believe. I'm a chia pet in that way. But, yeah, it's just been like okay, I can do this. It's fucking hard to be the straight man, because you have to do what a sketch is calling for. You have to understand what your role is in a sketch to make a joke work.
Yeah. The joke is the scenario, so you cannot be pushing because the scenario will break if you're then trying to make jokes on top of it.
Yes, and Jack Black is supposed to be getting the laugh lines, doing flips in the sky.
Yeah.
And so Celeste and Allison were like, Sarah, you got to do it. You got to be Sarah normal, Sarah sexual. And I was like, okay, I can try.
Do you have a sense of why they had you do it and not any of the other women?
I think also people know I'm like pretty down, so they know that I have no problem with being on a harness in the sky.
Yeah,
like I especially like in like Dan Bulla knows he can spray me with blood, and it's like I'm like totally down with it. Everybody's down. But I do
You'll
like being,
make your week. Yeah.
I like being inconvenienced.
Speaking of you being sprayed with blood, the gallbladder surgery sketch where you play Leslie,
Mm-hmm.
Which is just a person in surgery who is bad at their job, broadly defined. Mm-hmm. But then sketch becomes a different thing, which is Adam Sandler is the person who is being operated on.
Yeah.
And then is spraying people with blood and giving a speech, and the thing isn't working, and then you're there.
Right.
Talk about that sketch and being there, which in that is a situation where everyone breaks because I have no idea what that sketch was like.
Yeah.
When was it? But like it was a thing where the sketch was almost like, let's make it so like it will break organically, but we're going to push it as far as it can. That's what
we didn't know that Sandler was going to be the dead body. Well, no, sorry, the operated on body until maybe later in the week. And so I don't remember what the original sketch was, but I don't think the body had much character. And then once we found out it was Sandler, we were like, so like, you know, we had a whole ending. But I think that the also this was like that sketch was like another instance of like biting a rat's head off, because there was like a part where I was holding the patient's beating heart and it was spraying blood everywhere. And I'm like, did I do something wrong? Is everybody mad at me? Holding the patient's bleeding heart. And I think that was the out. And I think everyone knew, like, that's not going to be the out. But I was like, come on, let me, like, fucking have the beating heart. So, like, poor Louis had to build, like, a beating heart that was shooting blood. By the way, not the first time I've had a blood shooting heart.
Just use the same one.
They needed it to be smaller. But, because I do have one. But also, by the way, that's another thing that got cut from another thing that I wrote. So it's like, it's always never making it in. Also, like a beating heart prop, it's like, it's a heart, and then there's like a little loop with a string on it, and you pull it with your finger to make it look like it's beating.
That's cool.
Like a Pee Wee Herman doll.
Yeah.
Or like a, hi, I'm Chucky, you want to play? So that's how you make it beat, whatever. And I know about this because, of course, I've written that into a million sketches and never makes it. So, but between dress and air, I think we had to cut out like full minutes. So I think we didn't, so much changes, especially when you have like a live wire effect, that like the blood spray wasn't working because I think we had cut out so much that like the effects didn't know when to go. And so this weird thing happens where like I'm going to check on the tube to make sure that the tube is spraying blood. And I grab it. I like realize in the moment it's not working. So I go down there, I grab the tube, and I get it to spray me in the face. Because I'm like, then if I show people that my face is covered in blood, they'll know there's supposed to be a spray of blood or something. That's another thing. When something goes wrong like that, you have 2.02 seconds to figure out what to do. And it's Sandler, so then he knew, like, he's a pro, he's the GOAT. So he knew how to cover in that time.
Yeah.
And it was also funny because he sits up and you see his like full Adam Sandler like Hawaiian shirt underneath his like prosthetics. It's like GOAT.
You've toured, you've been in an Adam Sandler movie, you've toured with him a bit. Do you have Adam Sandler story that captures the Sandman?
The most Sandman thing is just like every time he sees you, he just goes, Anytime you talk to him on the phone, anytime you see him, he goes, how's your mother? How's your father? How are you, Bubby? Love ya. And like the fact that when, his last special was called Love You, that is just the most fucking Sandler thing ever. It's just like, love you. Mwah, love you, Bubby. Give my love to your mother. Give my love to your father.
Mm.
That's so him. And it's like, he gets it. The special did such a good job at like the beginning of it is like, he's getting mobbed by people and he tells them like, love you. Cause he does that. Like I've seen him on the street, like full hordes, like New Orleans parades of people like being like, Adam Sandler, ah! Goes to everyone, love you, Bubby, mwah, love you. He's just like, that's world peace, y'all.
That's world peace.
That's world peace, y'all.
So I don't know if you heard, but this was the 50th season of Saturday Night Live.
No.
And there was this anniversary special, and you were all over it.
I wasn't I?
You were on stage with the B-52s, and then you're in like a...
Well, I begged for that. Me and Bowen were like, we heard that the B-52s were playing, and immediately texted every single person. I was like, me and Bowen have to be on stage with them. It's awesome.
So the two sketches, the triumphant return of Sarah Normal as one of the bridesmaids in Domingo, which you've been in all...
No one knows that I'm in there. Like, that's the thing about Sarah Normal. No one has any idea who that woman is.
It's like they're like, oh, they cast someone else just to fill out the picture. And it's like, it's fully you.
My mom watches the show live every week. She takes photos of her TV every time I'm on screen and posts it on Instagram so that her friends know which ones I am because they can never tell. Yeah.
What is it like to be in the eye of the Domingo storm as the person people don't realize is in the sketch?
Well, people, like, I didn't realize it was viral until people were, like, complimenting me, like, yo, congrats on that sketch. And I'm like, what were they fucking... Like, I was like, oh, maybe they were talking about, like, a sketch I wrote. Like, I don't know, maybe they were talking about a weekend. And it was... I didn't realize at the time that it was, like, a sensation that was sweeping the nation.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out because people in person were congratulating me. People who I guess who had recognized Sarah Normal. And I was like, what is everyone talking about? And I was like, holy shit. I didn't realize that it has like 89 billion views on YouTube. And I'm like, not on TikTok. So I was like, I don't know what the youth are talking about.
Yeah. It's on It's like the most popular sketch in the history of TikTok. Really, because it's like, not the history of SNL on TikTok. But I think it's partly like just the fact of Ariana singing badly.
Yes.
Alone was a premise that they'd be like, that would go viral as it is. And
that earworm, espresso, viral song, and then the Marcello quotient.
Yes.
When you're... the girls are going to go crazy.
When you were rehearsing it the first time, where you're like, storms are brewing.
No, you're like doing a fucking... That's the 90th sketch you've blocked that day. You're on no sleep. You're starving. It's like, you're just like, whatever. And it was us like, really... Us nincompoops, me, Ego, and Heidi, really trying to nail the choreo. Really just over and over. Us like really like over and over again having to block it a lot because be like, whatever. And it's so funny people being like, oh my God, you guys' bad singing was so funny. And it's like, we were trying to sing, by the way. That's us trying to sing.
You were also in the New York musical as Michael Bloomberg.
With the hilarious... Mulaney joke. Great impression, Sarah, because he knew full well I wasn't going to have a good one. And it was really fun. So the first time we ran that, I really laughed. Him like premeditating that my Michael Bloomberg impression was just going to sound like every other fucking Jewish New Yorker I do. Like, hilarious.
Do you have any stories that typified that week for you?
Paul McCartney was in the building. And I ran up to him and I was like, because my hair was all like fancy.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran up to him and I was like, I know you can't tell because my hair's fancy right now, but I stole your haircut from Wings era. And he was like, oh no, I watched the show. And I was like, no. He knew. And I told him, I was like, I listened to Temporary Secretary in the shower this morning. Ah. You know, off of McCartney too, which is like, I went nuts. I went nuts. He was so nice. He said he knew. For some reason, like I had never met Ben Stiller before. And when I saw him, my like eyes started watering.
Sorry for laughing.
It was just crazy. I was like, oh my God, I love you. And I just like, my eyes started watering immediately. And I don't know. Sorry, Ben Stiller. I just he's like the GOAT. I got to, I guess the 50s was just me and hanging out with David Spade the whole time. He's my best friend. I love that guy. He was like, in the New York musical, like, there was like, we had to come out at the end, like, waving little flags. And, like, it's just, if you look, it's just, like, us at the end coming out together with little flags. Because we were, like, off, like, you know, hanging out off stage, like, making jokes, cracking wise. And the 50s was the first time I ever met Beck Bennett. He is a hoot.
Your stories go from Paul McCartney to Ben Stiller to David Spade to meeting Beck Bennett.
That was like the highlight. I'd never met him. When I got to SNL, everybody was like, I'm so depressed Beck Bennett isn't here. Fucking where the fuck is Beck Bennett? He didn't come back. This sucks. That was my first year. And everyone's like talking about Beck Bennett. I'm like, shit, I got to meet this guy. Everybody's fucking talking about how amazing Beck Bennett is. And then I meet him and he's a hoot. Love you, Beck.
That is wonderful. I had no idea he had that reputation as like
everyone's favorite. Everyone's favorite in the entire building of 30 Rock. Beck Bennett has the best reputation. And like, people would just be like, God, I wish Beck Bennett would be able to do this joke. I'm like, shit, let me try it. I'm like, no, you're not Beck.
So I want to talk a little bit. The question I just wrote down is, why are you like this? And I want to talk about Long Island. And there was this thing that I think it was in your first of the weekend updates. And you go like, I'm here looking like Chucky went to Sarah Lawrence.
Right.
And why that was so interesting to me is you didn't go to Sarah Lawrence.
No.
And it reminded me of when
by the way, might I interrupt you? I wanted the joke to be, I'm sitting here looking like Chucky's last wish. And I wrote it with PDD and they were like, that doesn't mean anything. Yeah. That's not a joke. And I was like, but it's like a vibe. And Ben Marshall was like, what the fuck is Chucky's last wish? And then he wrote, thank you. But then he wrote Sarah Lawrence. Because he was like, it has to be a joke.
Yeah, and it's really funny, but it's like, you didn't go to Sarah Lawrence, but it reminded me of when I first moved to the city, people were like, you probably went to like Vassar or whatever. Right. And I do feel like there's something about, I grew up on Long Island, where Long Island is, because it is so itself, if you're at all a little weird, you are the weirdest person that could ever imagine.
Yes.
So how does a Sarah not even get out? What was it like? Do you have a memory that typifies how people thought of you in Great Neck?
I was like definitely like an attention hogging freak. I just wanted to be a comedian so badly. That's the thing. Long Island is pure, unadulterated hell, but its proximity to the city. Like I could take the LIRR into Midtown to see ASCAT when I was 16. I did my first open mic when I was 16 at the Hog Pit NYC barbecue restaurant. I was wearing a bow tie, got made fun of by the host. But yeah, I just like, because it's so fucking Jewish, like there's so many little kids who want to be like comedians. So like my high school did have an improv troupe. It called Hot Lunch, and we did rehearse in my basement. We did do shows in the basement of the Great Neck Public Library at Levels, where all the anime kids hung out. So like there were like pockets of freakdom, which I'm like I mean, that's a thing, like, you know, conformity breeds freak subculture.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in the basement of the public library. And so I'm like really grateful I found the fucking freaks. So there was like, I got out, but I was able to start my escape route with my little spoon out of my jail cell from like a very early age. Cause like I always knew I wanted to be a comedian, and there was I didn't know what the path, there was no path. Like I was close to the city, so I could see how it could happen. But even though Long Island is a fucking crazy place to be from, like people don't get it. Like there's the most Trump voters per capita. I grew up in a really conservative Jewish community where I didn't want to go on birthright at a young age, which was insane, and so that's like politically I was never aligned with like people I grew up with like at all, and like that's really like it can be a very politically conservative place that I don't think people really know about.
Well, especially the parts that are like Great Neck that are like very Jewish. It's like peak Jewish assimilation to whiteness of like so they're being like, we need to like be not weird. Like if anyone is like almost like too Jewy to their in the way that they think Jewish people should be.
Yes.
That they're like, get out of here, you're making us look bad.
And there's this weird thing of like I mean, this is getting like really into it, but like I went to like a very conservative synagogue, and they make you do hardcore like regional identification with Israel at like a really young age. Like there is like a really intense like brainwashing process, but so it's like really hardcore. Like you're not allowed to have you're not allowed to have a non-Jewish boyfriend. You gotta only be friends with Jews. Like keep the community close, but at the same time, like all girls getting nose jobs at a young age because they look too Jewy, straightening their hair because they look too Jewy. So it's like a weird. What am I trying to say?
The juxtaposition?
Yeah, of like stronghold of Jewish identity while at the same time like dealing with weird like misogynist kind of body complex issues.
Was it like, what was horrific about it as a person? Is that aspect of your comedy?
I just like didn't, it's just so like growing up as like a hairy Jewish girl on Long Island, you're just like dealing with a lot of like body shame. Also, like I think I didn't realize it at the time, but like political differentiation, like not feeling, I was like a little like hippie kid, and like, oh, everyone around you is not, everyone wants to like make a lot of money and belong to like a fancy country club kind of thing. So it's like that kind of like abject suburban horror with a bunch of like weird Long Island shit thrown on top of it.
You're talking about suburbia and the sort of horror of it. And I wanted to ask you about David Lynch. So you did an Elephant Man parody. It was last season, but this season David Lynch died. And I was wondering if you could talk about him generally, that sketch, or sort of what he meant to you and your...
I mean, he's everything. He's like... Shit, it's like, what do you say about the actual goat? He's everything. He's like, I got into dream analysis because of him, meditation. Like, he taught me like how to be an artist, He's just like, fucking meditate, tap into your unconscious. You don't need to be suffering and feeling bad all the time. That's what I try to remember too. Like when I'm always like pissed off and angsty and like, I fucked up the sketch, whatever. It's like his whole shit was like, you never make good stuff out of a place of pain. Like he's like, I made Eraserhead when I was like fucking miserable and broke. You're not like, people romanticize like the tortured artist narrative or whatever, and he's like, meditate to just take care of yourself and like pull from your like dreams and the collective unconscious and like whatever. And just like the fact that he made weirdo shit that was widely available on network television is insane. It was the fact that it was popular means that just because something's weird doesn't mean people don't like it.
You do Weekend Update the first time 6 weeks into doing this show.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to me about what those first 5 episodes felt like, and then what the first Weekend Update felt like, and then how you felt afterwards?
I was like, I got the job. I was just happy to be there. I was like unemployed and broke and like, but before I got the job, I was like, didn't really know what I was like gonna do with my life. And then like I had just made this short with my friends called Sarah Vaccine, where I like scraped together. I got people to lend me money to make this crazy short with my friends. And it was like a real like passion project, and I got to make stuff really crazy with my hands. Like I'm like fake pissing in a beaker and eating poop or whatever. And I had just finished that, and it was like the best thing ever. It was like the most fun experience I would ever have. But I'm like, no one really watched it or cared, and you're kind of just like, shit. Like, I just was like worried that how do I say this? You just get scared that you're like, shit, like, how am I going to be able to do this? I can't be like begging people for money forever to make the stuff that I want to make. And like, I made that with like, by the way, obviously $0. So if you see it, you'll see that it doesn't.
But for the people.
Yeah, for the people. So I was just like a little worried that I wasn't going to be able to. It's fucking hard out there. I was in LA. It was really fun, but it's like, it's kind of tough. And then I got the job and I was like, oh my God, thank God. Ah, okay. Like I had like solid ground for a second. And then so my first entire year, fucking happy to be there. So stoked. Wasn't so hard on myself. The like Suicide Squad spiral I go after every sketch now, I wasn't experiencing the first year. I was just stoked. The first couple of episodes, I didn't get anything on the show. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, whatever, I can't even believe. I'm at the table read doing shit. Like, I'm like, if someone put me in a sketch, I'd be like, oh my fucking God, someone put me in a fucking sketch. And like, I wasn't getting anything on the show, and I had joined the show with Aristotle Atari and James Austin Johnson, and they had a lot of success getting stuff on the show really early, and they were really good at it. Like James was Trump.
Yes.
Like
right away.
Period. And like Aristotle was Angelo. Like they had shit on the show that worked, and they were good character performers. And I just like wasn't, and I was like figuring it out. And like I had written a bunch of stuff that wasn't getting on the show, but it's like I didn't feel any type of way about it because I couldn't even believe I was there in the first place. I couldn't believe I had a job. And then Colin was like, you should go on Weekend Update. And I was like, okay. He's like, as yourself. And I was like, I didn't know you could do that. I also thought that was like presumptuous to be like, what's good? So I'm Sarah. Like I'm on the, whatever.
To go to SNL, I was like, I thought of a great character. I just do my stand.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I thought SNL was like characters.
It mostly is.
It mostly is. But I didn't know about you could just be like.
It'd be like, what if I was a musical guest one week?
Yeah, no, literally. I'm like, oh, shit. But then, like, after I had joined the show, people were like, no, Pete went on as himself and, like, just talked about his fucking weekend. And I was like, really? All right, sure, whatever. So I had written something that was myself doing stand-up bits that were tried and true to me. And I'm like, these are my fucking slam dunks. What's good? And it didn't work. Like at the table, like because it's not stand up, it's something totally different. And I was like, all right, well, Colin asked me if I can write this, so my stand-up is very confrontational with the audience. Like, I do not want to say I'm a roast comic, but am I a little aggressive to the audience? Yes. So I just transferred that to Colin. And like in my stand-up, I just call everyone in the audience a pedophile. And so I just started calling him a pedophile. So
And the rest is history.
Yeah.
So you just finished your 4th season. Who knows how long you'll be at the show, but I believe the contract tends to be, people tend to do 7 or 8 is the standard run. So which means
I get fired tomorrow. I check my
Well, they did joke about it, which means they probably wouldn't, because that'd be a very mean thing to do.
You know what?
So if those haven't seen the final episode of the season, Scarlett Johansson jokes about how it's your last episode. And you go, what? Or whatever.
I did think once that made it to air, I was like, oh, I guess I won't be fired.
Yeah. In so much as you might be midway through. What do you have left to do?
Literally everything. Yeah. All these like rats that I'm biting their heads off and like bloody heart shooting blood. There have just been so many of those like really like me gags that I feel like I haven't gotten to do because I haven't figured out how to do it for the show.
Yeah.
I think the closest I ever got was the googly eyes sketch. Like I was blind, my eyes were googly eyes. It's like a big, crazy, insane stunt with like a little bit of body horror. And that is like, I'm trying to get back to that as much as I can. I've also never had like a big character. Like I've never had my Funko Pop character. I don't know how to do that.
The thing,
I don't know how.
It doesn't really exist that much anymore. And the funny example is like Domingo is not even the protagonist. Like Domingo's not even in that much of that sketch, and he's the breakout character.
I know.
It maybe will happen, but it's not happen. It doesn't happen very often anymore. Have you asked if you can put a paper mache butthole on SNL? Like in my head, it's like, is that actually not?
We kind of did it once. I played a butt. Part of me is still feeling like we can make it happen. But there was a sketch where I play a butt and it got cut because it looked so grotesque. Like it looked pornographic.
Yeah.
So it ended up getting cut because it was like, oh, we can't have an asshole. So maybe.
So Sarah Sherman is what you go by on SNL.
Uh-huh.
I remember when you're cast, we're like, well, she go by Sarah Sherman or Sarah Squirm? And then you went by Sarah Sherman. It was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where is Squirm?
You can see her live in the flesh room on tour. Mm-hmm.
So that's inside of you and it's ready to come. But like, do you feel like it's, when you're on SNL, does it feel like a different you?
Yeah. Especially I'm Sarah Normal. I'm not Sarah Squirm. And I'm clocking in. I'm clocking into work. I'm there to behave, try to get away with as much as I can. But if a little Sarah Squirm can eke out, I'm very happy. And when I auditioned for the show, they had seen me on a stand-up show.
Yeah.
And I was billed on the stand-up show as Sarah Squirm. And I do that just because it's like a disclaimer, like what you're about to see may or may not be having poop and blood or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so then because they found me at a stand-up show, throughout the entire audition process, I was on everything as Sarah Squirm. And even my contract says Sarah Squirm. And when I got the job, Lauren called me. I was like at my childhood home eating spaghetti and meatballs with my parents and my grandma. And he was like, well, we think Squirm is a little distracting. And I was like, totally.
So the final segment show is called the Laughening Round. It's like a lightning round, but because it's a common podcast, I call it Laughening Round.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite joke? Like a street joke?
Mm-hmm. It's like a 5-minute Norm Macdonald Albert Fish joke where he talks about like he long-windedly explains Albert Fish, the child serial killer and rapist. And after he describes all of it, I mean, I'm going to spoil the joke. I'm not going to do it, but he'd like talk like in-depth graphic detail explanation of made-up explanation of a serial killer's exploits. And at the end he goes, it was a real jerk.
I do know that one. So this will be a Mount Rushmore of Mount Rushmore. So it's going to be 4 Mount Rushmores, SNL related.
Okay.
And you can do however you want to apply this so no one gets mad at you, but do Mount Rushmore of hosts.
Oh, like dream hosts?
Yeah, the 4 best, generally Mount Rushmore means like the ones you'd put on a mountain for.
Oh, that I have already experienced.
Most likely, that would probably make sense. Or you can do it historically if you'd like.
I have a Mount Rushmore of dream hosts.
Sure. Mount Rushmore, dream hosts.
John Waters, Johnny Knoxville, Joan Rivers. And I've never been there when Eddie Murphy hosted, but that would be amazing for me to experience.
Mm-hmm. Long Island legend.
Long Island legend.
Musical guests that have experience or dream experience.
Yo. Lady fucking Gaga blew that shit out. And like, I don't know if this is sacrilegious to say, I'm such a Madonna whore that I just legit didn't know Lady Gaga's game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I became familiar with Lady Gaga's game when she hosted this past time. And I was like, I pledge my allegiance. I am a little monster after that. It was crazy. Like, my favorite musical performance from SNL history was like David Bowie with Klaus Nomi, and it was giving that down.
Sorry, 2 more musical guests. So
Fuck.
Now it's historical, so it can be any musical guest ever, or it can do dream guests.
I loved like when The Replacements was on and Fear were on. I mean, I wasn't there. But like, wasn't even alive. Yeah, thank you. I'm so young.
Cast members. I assume you'll do historical, or you can do your favorite cast members you currently work with.
My whole cast. I guess like I would have died to be on the show with Fred Armisen. He's amazing. And Norm Macdonald. And obviously, like, everyone's addicted to Gilda, obviously. And Kristen Wiig is legit the GOAT. Mm-hmm. It's crazy what she did on that show. And Dana Carvey.
No, that's 5. You got to stop.
I know.
Do you have a short story of an interaction with a legendary comedian, living or dead, you're willing to share that you have not already shared?
Barry Crimmins saw me bomb my ass off. I was opening for him and Bobcat Goldthwait at the Hideout in Chicago. I bombed worse than anyone's ever bombed. It was like Oppenheimer level bomb. And it was like, I want to say it was like an afternoon Sunday show. So like it wasn't even my fault. And he comes up to me afterwards and he was just like, fuck him. Like it wasn't a thing like, oh, you did good. Like, don't worry. Like, haha. It was just like, no one even said one word. We all knew I fucking bombed. They went, fuck him. Who gives a shit? And I was like, all right. I'll take that. Thank you. May he rest. Fucking legend.
What is a sketch that didn't work that you'll go to your grave thinking is funny, even though it did not work to other people?
I played a butt. Okay. I'm not telling you what the premise of the fucking sketch was. I'm not telling you what the jokes were. I'm not telling you the game. I'm not spoiling it. Because I have that much faith that we can remount it and bring it across the finish line. It was really fucking funny. I'm playing a butt, like from the movie Society style, that kind of butt, head coming out of a butt. It got cut because it looked too pornographic. We can make it work. We can build it better so it looks less unsafe for network television. And I will egg on my fucking face if it goes to air and doesn't work. It will work. I will make it work. We will figure it out. It's a funny bit. I play a fucking butt. It's got little fucking puppet hands. It's fucking hilarious. We'll make it work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.